Marvel has released the first footage from their new Disney Plus series, She-Hulk, in celebration of Disney Plus Day. Marvel Studios has a complete slate of series going to the streaming service in the next few years. Following the success of WandaVision, The Falcon, and Winter Soldier, and Loki, the series was previously announced during D23 in 2019. However, due to the pandemic, shooting was postponed until this year. Each Disney Plus series has its own style, and She-Hulk is said to be arriving in the form of a legal comedy as seen by the latest trailer. Tatiana Maslany, popularly known as Jennifer Walters, was cast in the starring role of She-Hulk last year. In the comics, Walters is Bruce Banner's cousin who acquires a much milder variant of his disease after she requires a life-saving blood transfusion. Fortunately, she is still able to practice law and isn't quite as affected by the Hulkouts as her cousin. Renee Elise Goldsberry as Amelia, John Segura and Ginger Gonzaga in undisclosed roles, and Jamila Jamil as the Wicked Tatiana are among the previously revealed cast members, in addition to Maslany. Tim Roth will reprise his role as Emil Blonsky, also known as Abomination, while Mark Ruffalo will play Bruce Banner, or Professor Hulk, as the footage shows. She-Hulk initially appeared in Marvel Comics in the 1980s, in Stan Lee's Savage She-Hulk series. Jennifer had a connection with the figure that was just introduced in Eternals during her time as an Avenger in the comics, notably during Avengers number 234. She also played a minor role in the Secret Invasion comics. However, it is unsure if she'll appear in the next Secret Invasion series going to Disney+. As Phase 4 progresses, it is evident that Marvel Studios is introducing more characters in both interwoven television programs and films. With that, here are a few facts you need to know about She-Hulk. She-Hulk has a law degree. She-Hulk, like her cousin Bruce Banner, has two sides to her, the professional Avenger and Jennifer Walters. Unlike the Hulk, however, she has complete control in She-Hulk form and has access to all of her cognitive capacity from her law degree. Jennifer Walters isn't unusual to show up to court hulked out and dressed in business attire due to this little added upside to her skills. The confidence she gains in her green form will undoubtedly aid her in her duties as legal counsel, and it will undoubtedly be a display of force for the opposing counsel. Jen's other side is a big aspect of She-Hulk comics. Viewers will not only be treated to some ass-kicking and street justice, but they will also see court appearances that equal any courtroom drama on the small screen. Much like Daredevil, Charles Soule, a writer and New York City attorney, has also contributed to both titles. She's a Bruin. She-Hulk's past isn't fantastic, it's not amazing, and it's not even incredible. It's academic. She graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, with a bachelor's degree. Rob Reiner, Mayim Bialik, and George Takei were among the people she studied with. For many fans, part of the allure of Marvel Comics is that the universe is founded in pseudo-reality that is similar to our own. Because the creators worked from the Marvel office's bullpen, many of the flagship characters were based in real-life locations in New York City. This surely isn't the first time UCLA has been exploited to contribute to pop culture. Hollywood and television studios have notably used its campus in the past. Not many Marvel characters have their backstories in the Big Apple, which is refreshing, but we're still glad she finally made New York City her home. Her law firm is named after comic legends. From Spider-Man against the Daily Bugle to Howard the Duck versus Lucas, the Marvel's Universe other fictitious legal firm, Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway, has taken on numerous cases inside the pages of She-Hulk, in which Howard wanted to sue George Lucas over movie rights. This is an obvious homage to the publisher's pre-Marvel Comics identity, which is based in Timely Plaza in New York City. When Martin Goodman, Marvel's first publisher, recruited She-Hulk in 2004, Holden Holloway appeared as the fourth member in 2004's She-Hulk #1. It gets its name from Stan Lee, whose actual surname was Lieber, and Jack Kirby, who was born Jacob Kurtzberg. There's a caveat. she dresses as Jennifer Walters to avoid influencing judges with her huge green reminder of her previous heroism. Jen discovers during her stay at GLK&H that her strength in her She-Hulk form is directly influenced by how powerful she is as a human, prompting her to begin her training in her human form, dramatically boosting her She-Hulk strength. She-Hulk is actually a fifth member of the Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm lingered on Battleworld for a few months longer than the rest of the heroes after the events of Secret Wars 1984, leaving the Fantastic Four with a vacancy. She-Hulk was suggested to take his position, no doubt due to the fact, like the Thing, she was one of the biggest hitters in the universe. In 1984, with Fantastic Four number 265, she was introduced as a full-fledged member of Marvel's first family, with her first appearance in number 266 when she is in the hospital with Sue Storm after the latter fell due to pregnancy difficulties. These weren't, however, her first appearances in a Fantastic Four comic book. John Byrne wrote and drew She-Hulk as a character for the first time in Fantastic Four number 254, and went on to write and draw some of the most legendary storylines in She-Hulk history. Her ability to switch bodies. Of course, She-Hulk isn't limited to her initial talents. She can also learn new ones. When she had to alert her colleagues aboard a Skrull ship, her fellow prisoners, members of the Ovid species, gave her mind transfer ability that their race is famed for in Sensational She-Hulk number 45. Using it to transfer with her buddy Wheezy, however, the ability backfired. They didn't trade thoughts, but rather physical height and ability. Wheezy on the Skrull ship was given She-Height Hulk and strength, while She-Hulk was left green and 5'2" prisoner with no talents as a result. The gamma radiation in her blood interfered with the transference, leading her to assume the physical shape of the patient, as it finds out in the following issue. The opportunity for Wheezy to shine came when she took down her jailer and persuaded the Skrull commander to assist her in rescuing Jen. Both ladies returned to their former states after this swap was not as permanent as the Ovoid claimed. Grey She-Hulk. She-Hulk, like her cousin, has her own grey persona. This condition, on the other hand, can be compared to Wolverine's berserker anger, in which she loses control of herself, gains power, and her speech becomes more broken, similar to Banner's primary Green Hulk persona in this stage. During an adventure with Howard the Duck in Sensational She-Hulk number 15, her grey form first appeared. When demons attack on a human form, Jen in search of their next meal. Jen's wrath transforms into a grey She-Hulk form. Jen is the title character in Hulk number 1, and she is depicted trying to keep her grey Hulk ego in check. The smackdown she got at the hands of Thanos during the events of Civil War II, as well as the stress and anguish she faced after learning that her cousin Bruce had been murdered by Hawkeye, resulted in her grey form resurfacing. She-Hulk was able to rip apart the Vision. She-Hulk is a long-standing member of the Avengers, and even commanded her own group known as A-Force for some time. Although the Avengers were initially excellent for Jen, she has been deceived by her closest allies several times, most notably during the Avengers' disassembled arc. Jen's difficulties were revealed to be due to Scarlet Witch's machinations, who compelled She-Hulk to kill the Vision by ripping him in half after a sequence of incidents that prompted her to doubt her ability to manage her power and wrath. She-Hulk was able to break the fourth wall. She-Hulk was breaking the fourth wall long before Deadpool, as we previously stated. When John Byrne was on Sensational She-Hulk, Jen's comic savvy was most evident. Many times, readers have seen her communicate with the writer and editing team, but her fourth wall breaks aren't limited to her own work. In 1998's Heroes for Hire number 14, for example, She-Hulk is seen firing the narrator for being very worthless. The narrator protests and tries to convince her that it's Stan Lee, Stan Lee's girlfriend, and Monica Lewinsky. It was the late 90s, all of which take place in front of Luke Cage and Scott Lang and Ant-Man. However, they're just getting She-Hulk's version of the story because she talks to nobody from their perspective. She-Hulk was created to retain a trademark. The Incredible Hulk TV, movie, and accompanying TV series were hugely successful in the late 1970s, attracting both fans of the Incredible Hulk comics and non-readers. Predictably, this resulted in a number of reports that the studios involved were thinking about producing a female version of the Green Monster, in order to appeal to diverse demographics across both series. Marvel caught wind of this news and determined that they had to get there early in order to defend their interest. She-Hulk was thus born. Stan Lee and John Buscema invented the Jade Giantess in late 1979, early 1980, publishing the Savage She-Hulk #1 and submitting the trademark before CBS could beat them to the punch. However, depending on how significant you consider his 1992 co-invention, Ravage 2099, this work was often thought to be Stan Lee's final significant creation for Marvel. Leader of the A-Force. Marvel fans were treated to another Secret Wars in 2015. During the not-so-great crossover, the regular Marvel universe fused with many other realities, creating a patchwork universe where there can exist more than one version of certain characters. G is a character from Secret Wars 2015, who appears in the crossover event. A-Force was developed by Willow Wilson, Marguerite Bennett, Jorge Molina, and all-female Avengers squad led by She-Hulk. Singularity awakened on Earth 616, the primary reality when the universes united into one following Secret Wars, and attempted to unify her team's 616 incarnations. Captain Marvel, Medusa, Dazzler, Nico Minoru, and She-Hulk, who would become the team's captain, were among the characters she was successful in getting together to combat antimatter. Sadly, despite its positive critical response, A-Force was short-lived, with just 15 issues in 2 volumes overall. What are your thoughts about Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk? Let us know in the comment section down below. We hope you guys liked this video and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.